Hey everyone. Hi, Double X Kiss. How are you? Hey, Cormac. Good to see you in the live chat. I'm gonna just let you guys roll in. This is going to be it's gonna be a real talk here. It might even get a little raw emotionally. And that may cover quite a bit of spectrum. We'll see how it goes. I have no idea how this is going to go. I feel a lot better today after some excellent support from friends yesterday. So thank you. You know who you are, and it's been it's been a hard weekend. It's been a difficult weekend, but I am grateful for it, and I am grateful for the understandings that have led me to where I am today in this moment. So before I get into it, I just want to remind you guys the Awaken the Mystic event is this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. That is a live event I'll be holding on Zoom. I'll be taking those of you who wish to participate. We'll be connecting with the lunar eclipse energies of the Taurus full moon that will happen just hours before we start. And we're going to do some very deep shamanic healing, a journey to awaken the mystic within you, to bring in more power. And I'm going to explain why I'm doing that in just a moment. And also, I want to remind you guys that if you're interested, I am offering the 2024 astrology and tarot forecast predictions for you. That is a service that is now available until the end of the year. All right. Hello, Suiterbug. Hello, Stephanie and Stephanie. Good to see you. So one of the reasons why I'm doing the Awaken the Mystic is because this Taurus full moon eclipse actually started in November, late November 2021. And that was around the time where I really started to use my mystical skills in a very different way, in a way I wasn't expecting. And of course, that was when I had to get this thing, or I should say this thing so you guys see it, in the arm. And I will say that I'm going to speak a little bit about that at the very end. I have a comment I'd like to make about receiving comments about that and my health, but I'm going to save that till the end. And that was a huge moment for me in awakening my own mystical skills, the mystic within me, in ways that I had really never envisioned that I would be doing it. And this is now closing out this 2-year period where that was a very big beginning point for me. And I say that only because Taurus represents the body. In a way, it's very practical. It's the physical element. I should say it's the 3D, right? It's the here and the now. And Scorpio, where the sun and other planets will be during this eclipse, and the other eclipse that we had at the very beginning of this in 2021, the Scorpio does represent the mystic. Scorpio is the mystic. It's the occult. It's the psychic descent. It's the truth. It's about playing with magic. And so both of these elements are coming in during this full moon lunar eclipse, and I had to learn how to bring the mystic and bring her to life in this now, to face what was a very big fear for me at the time. It's not anymore. I've overcome that. And I now realized that that was actually child's play compared to what I can do. And so if you're interested in awakening the mystic within you, if you're struggling to really bring that to the forefront of your life, of your work, just in your day-to-day practices, this will be a really cool ceremony because we're going to kind of go into some deep healing to clear any kind of past karma, ancestral lineage that is perhaps holding you back. Okay. So, hi, Georgiana. Hi, Kathy, and happily humbled. Hello, sweetie. Good to see you. Okay, let's get into it. On the weekend, I had a very dear friend, as many of you know from the newsletter I sent out today, and from if you're in Alchemy. I lost a friend to a heart attack. I just found out today that it was a heart attack. But he died doing something he really loved. He was on his bike on one of his favorite trails here in Colorado. And he's a very good friend of mine. He was always a good time. He was always down to laugh. He was actually a comedian. In some ways, he put his hand in comedy. He was a photographer, so he was really good at capturing life's moments. And he left me with such a gift in this life. His friendship was such a gift. He's always so supportive of my work, especially the stuff I've been doing lately. I took him on a guided journey. He had the most incredible experience on it, and I felt blessed to be witness to a massive awakening that he experienced. And his passing has hit me in a way that is beautiful and also painful for obvious reasons and then not so obvious reasons. And I think what I want to say is it's so important. There's this African proverb, and I said it before on a podcast, and I've done a couple reels about this, that this African proverb says, when death finds you, may it find you alive. And death found my friend alive. He was living, he was doing what he loved, and he has, for the entire time I've known him, he's always been up for anything and just living life. And I don't feel like many of us really do that. And I'm guilty of it for sure. In fact, this summer is something that I really decided to put to the forefront of challenging myself to really push myself out of my comfort zone and do things I wouldn't normally do, or, you know, reasons why I might come up with excuses to why I didn't need to do it in that moment. So we're really good at finding excuses. Before I get into some very real talk, and I will say this, I mentioned this on the Telegram post I just put in there. I am going to be using a velvet glove, but I'm not pulling any punches today. And I have some messages that are very important to deliver, because I am seeing this pervasive level of perception that is infiltrating the consciousness of many on our planet. And it's saddening to me knowing how many are doing the work. There's just so many levels to it. Some of you are doing the work and you slip and you fall and then you do the work again. You know, that's totally human. That's pretty much the journey of healing, right? We're all going to go down that path. And, you know, we open up our minds to what we're capable of in this reality and what this reality is and why we're here and what's our purpose. But I feel like people are not really understanding the gravity of what it means to be human on this planet and what it means to be alive right now, today. So before I start, I just want to really show you some of the pictures that I was able to capture yesterday morning. So to honor my friend, it's just, and I'm showing these because he was a photographer and he loved capturing moments. Whenever we would go on hikes together, he was taking all these photos of flowers and anything. Like he loved capturing moments, and he was so good at it. And so you guys can still hear me, right? Let me know in the, yeah, you guys should be able to still hear me. So this is a photo that I took. I got up to the bluff in Boulder, Colorado, north of Boulder, Colorado. Like it's right on the mountains. I had to go up a lot of switchbacks to get to this height. And I was alone. Mind you, there were like many deer that seemed to pop their heads out I must have had 3 different deer sightings while I was going up there. And I wanted to really honor him and say goodbye in my way. And I think this is important. Ceremony, the importance of ceremony and honoring this life, I think, is extremely important. And I wanted to do it my way, in a way that I knew would reach him. And so I brought a candle and lit a candle, and I made myself a cacao for the road, and I had it sitting in my Forbidden Journey tumbler, so it was staying warm. And this was around 6:15 in the morning, just before the sun really started to come up. And I lit the candle to let him know that this was for him. And this was the next photo. As you can see, the sun was starting to come up. And if you look to the top right corner, you can see Venus. This Venus was right there in the sky, getting higher and higher, but she was rising. But it was so nice to have Venus with me at this moment in time. And this was the sunrise that I was graced with as I was saying my goodbye to him. And I really couldn't have asked for a better sunrise, because he got a beautiful one. And this is me sitting there, finished my cacao. And actually there was an animal that was messing around with me in the bushes somewhere. And I was like, okay, not today, not today, because I cannot be running to my car worrying about, I don't know if it's a mountain lion or a bear or whatever it is, but I was like, just not today, please. So then this was my favorite shot. This was his heavenly goodbye. The sky, it just seemed like, we know the sun is a portal to this universe. And it just felt like everything was opening up. And in this moment, I began to cough, and I knew him and I had met up for lunch just a week prior, and he was telling me about his trip in Europe, and he did have a health scare. He had to go to the hospital. They didn't know what it was, but he was coughing a lot. And in this moment, I started to cough, and like for no reason. And I was like, just kept kind of going and going. And then finally I realized, as soon as I realized, oh, you're here with me. It's you're letting me know. And it stopped. The coughing instantly stopped. So that was a really beautiful sign that I knew he was with me. And this was just some pictures of the sunrise as it was coming up. And it was really beautiful. Just the light pouring in. And yeah. So that was my goodbye to my friend. And I told him, yeah, he did a good job when he was here. He did a real good job. You know, he has a beautiful family. He had beautiful friends. He was loved by everyone. And he's going to be missed, but he's got new adventures ahead of him. And I know that if I need him, I just have to call on him. I know I can reach him. So what was also really beautiful is that there was an event. So this was an amphitheater. It's an outdoor amphitheater, really tiny, and but it's really beautiful. It kind of looks Mayan. And they were setting up an event for that morning there. And I don't know what it was exactly, but they had speakers and they started playing music. And my first thought was, oh, great. Now my moment's going to be interrupted. Right. And then I thought, no, Nicole, it's just being added to. And I thought, what are the chances, that they would start playing music? And they played some really beautiful music that was a beautiful send-off for him. And so while I'm sitting there watching the sunrise, I've got like these big amphitheater kind of speakers playing these beautiful music. And it was this beautiful, more of an instrumental version of Once Upon a Dream. And it was just so beautiful. And I just felt so much love. And I was like, wow, I've been blessed by the universe to not only just have this moment, but have music playing at the same time. And it was truly magical. So he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot in the importance of this life. And I will say, my friend and we had some differing views when it came to political viewpoints and things like that. But this is what I love so much about our relationship, is that it never mattered. He he loved me and I loved him. He brought so much joy to my life, so much love. And we had the best conversations, like the best, deepest conversations. I always knew that when we met up, we were going to go deep. It may get emotional, but I knew he was there with me. And that is, like, to me, just the best. So this weekend was difficult because I know that some of you are struggling with being here right now on this planet, in this body. And I know what it's like to have thoughts of leaving. And I know that, life has its moments here. It's hard. There are times where we're really challenged. There's times where we don't know if we can keep going. But the answer is never to take your life. And the answer is to never just settle. And I say that in knowing that at some point you have to choose to be here. You have to choose to be here in this body, in this reality, in this dimension. And sometimes when we're doing our spiritual work, we are so enamored with the realms and the dimensions beyond that we forget about why we're even here. And we think that is so incredibly interesting. And it is. It's totally interesting. I mean, it's phenomenal because we didn't know that it existed up until a certain point in our life. But this is where the real magic happens, in this life, in this body. Everything that you can do here, you can't contribute to if you were just an energetic form in another dimension, in another reality. Higher dimensional beings can work with you. You can have conversations with them. They can assist you. They can give you messages. But at the end of the day, the big contribution to this planet changing is coming from you in the physical. And I find that given that we have certain events happening in our world right now that are only going to kick into higher gear, the fear porn is going to get stronger, and collectively it's going to get bigger. Which means for those of you who are extremely sensitive and not working on your own energetic boundaries, or are still struggling to maybe define what that means for you and how to clear that, you're going to start feeling that even more. That doesn't mean that because you can, that you should. You don't have to. You don't have to be sensitive to everything going on in the world. You can choose when you want to feel and when you don't want to feel. And just because you're empathic doesn't mean that you're sentenced to feeling everything at a whim. This is a choice. As you grow in your own spiritual development, it is your duty to learn where you begin and end and where someone else begins and ends. It's not about feeling everyone else's pain. It's not about healing everyone else. It's only about you in this life. And I think too many people are getting caught up in too many narratives out there. Listening to too many people saying this is going to happen and that's going to happen and when this event happens. And maybe it's not even a global event. Maybe it's not even a galactic event that you're caught up in. Maybe it's a personal event of maybe as soon as my health gets better, this is going to change. As soon as I get this amount of money, my circumstances are going to change. And it's never the case. Whatever you're waiting for, it's not going to happen until you change. You, nothing else around you. The only way your circumstances change is if you start changing, by changing who you are and the choices you're making that got you into the state that you're in. We all are going to go through ups and downs. And no matter how good it feels right now, you most certainly can bank on there's going to be a low coming up behind it. But as much as you can bank on a low coming up behind it, you can bank on another high. This is just the natural rhythmic flow of the universe and this planet. We know the cycles. Pay attention to the moon. Cycles are everywhere. When you are waiting for something to change, whether it's waiting for the right person to show up in your life as a partner, or waiting for the job that you've been dreaming of, or waiting for a family member to awaken, or whatever it might be, you have completely disempowered yourself, and you are working at a perspective where life is happening to you, not for you. And you've also disempowered yourself as the co-creator of your reality. You are absolutely a co-creator of your reality. Everything that is happening, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, and a lot of people are going to say, well, I didn't ask for this and I didn't ask for this. Well, guess what? Somewhere up there, when you were making and designing this plan of life, you had a hand in what might come down in your pathway. There's so much privilege to be here on this planet at this time. Souls are lining up. Some are trying to jump the line to get onto this planet to do their work. And too many people are giving up here already because it's too hard. You don't like the way the world is. You don't like all of these things that are happening to humanity. Guess what? You already knew that was happening before you got here. No big surprises. At some point, we all have to accept that this is the planet. If you keep fighting it, you're only going to be faced with more of it. And you're never going to be in a position to see a new perspective of how it actually shifts, which is from within you. If you don't like your circumstances, if you don't like the world is working, you've got to change the way you interact with the world. This is one of the reasons why I pulled out of a lot of the global political narratives going on. I certainly got pulled into it. I was definitely had my hand in it and I contributed it to it. And that's part of the journey. I could sit here and shame myself for it. I'm not going to. And I'm not going to shame you for doing it either. It's part of the journey. But at some point, you got to realize where you're giving your energy, what you're paying attention to. I mean, there's some fundamental basic energetic lessons that we know that where your focus goes, energy flows. And the controlling systems of this planet know that if they can grab your attention, that they have your energy, they have your life force, they have you distracted from whatever it is that you could be creating that is beneficial, not just for your own personal reality, but for the world itself. The first thing that you can do is start looking at your choices. Because so often, many of us are choosing the familiar. I've talked about this a lot in dating, but it goes to the very fundamental of everything you do in this life. What are all of the choices you make out of habit or familiar because you're used to them? You're going to have to start choosing differently if you want to become someone who can actually resonate with the reality that you're envisioning for yourself somewhere in the ethers. Okay, whatever reality that you're trying to manifest or dream up for yourself or pull into this reality, you ultimately have to become the person who resonates and can live in that. And you have to ask yourself, what choices am I making today that aren't the type of choices the person who's living in that reality would make? You got to stop making those choices, and then you got to start making the ones that do work. And that can be really hard at first. That can be really difficult. It feels uncomfortable, but it's supposed to feel uncomfortable because that means you're growing. I am so tired of hearing the narratives of this planet's so fucked up. I can't believe it. This person, that person. When are people going to wake up? And it's just like, fuck. When are you going to wake up? When are you going to realize that you already knew all of this coming in here? When are you going to realize that the reason why things aren't changing for you is because although you may think you're awakened, you're not doing the thing you need to do with the awakened information that you have. And what's worse, being ignorant and not doing it, or knowing and still not doing it? The thing with the journey of awakening is it is deeply healing, deeply, deeply healing. And we'll go through phases where we need to pull back, recover, lick our wounds, and then we're ready to go into the next layer. But ultimately, that journey never stops. And it's not for any of us to dictate how anyone should awaken and at what speed they should awaken at. And if they are awakened, does that make them somehow more enlightened? I know a lot of enlightened people who aren't awakened to the information that I know. Some people are more enlightened than me in many areas. Enlightenment is not a status. It is a state of being that some of us get to touch in for moments and maybe bring into this lifetime more and more. But enlightenment can happen in various different areas of our life and in ways that some people don't even realize are there. It's not our job to look down upon anyone based on where they are. And it's not our job to make people speed up their healing journey so that we get the reality that we want. You get the reality that you want when you choose it. Not because someone else is awakening or hasn't awakened, because you choose it. And if you don't like it, you have to start changing it. And deciding to give up or say you want out, that is your choice. That is a choice. But as many of you know, you will come back and have to do it all over again. You don't get to run away from these lessons. You don't get to run away from the problems. If you do choose to exit, and I do pray you don't, but if you do, too early, you will have to come back and start all over again. This life is so precious. It is such a gift. And there are so many ways to enjoy it. You don't have to be caught up in the narrative that this world is trying to shove down your throat. There are so many truths that you can tap into without having to go down all of the different conspiracy theories, some which are true, some which are not. Some have multi-layers of truths and false layers. There's so many ways for you to interact with this reality, and you don't have to be a part of anyone's narrative to create your own. The only thing you need to know is my narrative working for me or against me? The healing journey will unpack your purpose. The healing journey will unpack your happiness for you. It's all sitting within you. It's all there. But we have to pull back the layers to get to it. And that's why the healing journey is the most important part of your life mission here. The most important part is your healing. The more of us that focus on healing our own selves and becoming better versions of ourselves and living authentically and living in alignment with what brings us joy, that is what starts to shift, because people will start to notice. People pay attention and they'll want what you have. There's a lot of systems in play that you can participate in. And there's a lot of systems that you can create your own and participate in those. Don't worry about all of the missions that you might be doing in the dream space, all the missions that you might be doing, in other levels of consciousness. The mission that matters most is the one here. The one here. And I don't care how good of a missioner you think you are out there, because this is the hardest one. This is the hardest one. And if you can't handle this one, stop doing the ones out there and put some of your energy here. Ask for a break. Bring your consciousness here. Because you only have so much time here to do that. The fear is only going to get stronger and stronger, and it's going to get harder and harder. We've kind of come out of a lull phase. And we're seeing what is trying to be triggered in people's psyche right now through various acts of war. And there's nothing wrong with learning of what's going on. I have nothing against that. Where I start to get a problem with is when you start to give away your power to that energetic succubus of the system that knows that many people will fall for it time and time again out of the sheer outrage of, why the fuck does this planet suck? This planet doesn't suck. This planet's beautiful. There's so much beauty here. But they want you to focus on what isn't, so that your energy is pulled away from what you could possibly create that is beautiful, from the beautiful friendships, family relationships, your co-working relationships, just your day-to-day of enjoying the beauty of this place. I mean, you guys saw the sunrise I saw. Beautiful. This planet is beautiful. And there's beauty everywhere. But the choice is, how do you want to respond to this planet? How do you want to respond to this life? This life, it's too good. It's too good. And that doesn't mean that I'm negating the challenges. God knows we all have challenges to go through. I certainly just went through one this weekend. But take the challenges and use them as a fuel source to rise up and do it better. There's always better. I've been watching this reality TV show. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. Special Forces, The World's Toughest Test. And they've got a season 1 and they're in halfway through season 2 right now. It's really good. I highly recommend watching it. What I love about what they focus on in these challenges is that they're not really looking for who's the strongest. They're looking for the person who keeps getting up even when they're down. They may get pushed down, they might fail, but they get back up and they try again and they never give up. That is the human spirit. That is how we need to approach this life. That no matter how many times we fall down, we still get back up and we try to do our best. That is resilience. That is part of what makes humans so amazing. Because of our ability to take our emotions, which are our most powerful fuel source, and focus them and channel them into something beautiful. So this life is not meant to be wasted. Don't live in fear. Don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait for something to change so that you can change. It never works that way. It never works that way. You change and the world changes around you. You change and your circumstances change. What are some of the hard choices that you have to start making that are going to feel really uncomfortable and possibly bring up a lot of pain, but are going to take you down the path towards a better version of your reality, because you become a better version of you through the growth of moving through the discomfort, of trying something new, of not just sticking to the familiar. I'm going to end on the thing that I said at the beginning. Yes, I took this 2 years ago. No one needs to be worried for me. If you are worried about my health, that is your projection of fear, and I am not welcoming it. I know many of you do it with love, but I don't need to be told how to go about my healing journey and what to put in or not put into my body. And that should never be put on anyone, not just me. None of us should be telling anyone how to handle their own health, how to handle their own body, unless they've asked you for it. I have no fear around that choice at all. That, to me, was one of the best decisions I ever made, not because of what it was, but because of how I overcame it and unlocked things that I didn't even know I was capable of unlocking. It helped me realize how strong I actually am. It helped me realize that I didn't have to be a victim. I could change the circumstances and become the actual master of my reality. I know so many of you think that it's the worst thing to happen to this planet and to people, because it has hurt people. People have died from it. But people have died from many things, and people have been hurt from many things. It is not the big monster under the bed that you are giving all this power to. Stop giving it so much power, or it will continue to use it. Be careful about your own fears and where you're projecting them. Unless someone asks you for health advice on how they should, on what they should and shouldn't put in their body, you shouldn't be offering that to people. That is stepping on someone else's journey. And that is not part of a healthy respect for the energetic sovereignty of an individual. We talk about energetic sovereignty. Each and every one of you has a choice. You get to make whatever choices you're going to make in this lifetime, and no one has the right to tell you differently. What is good for you may not be good for someone else. What I did was good for me. It was not necessarily good for other people. That's why I didn't advocate for it. I would never advocate for something like that. But I will not stand here 2 years later as we come to the close of this Taurus eclipse season, when this all began for me 2 years ago, still have people telling me that, I should get a clearing or a detox or whatever, or try this supplement. I don't have it anymore, guys. It's not in my body anymore. Newsflash, it was gone. It was gone over a year and a half ago. I have not been sick. I have not been sick once. So remember, this journey is yours. You live it for you. You make your choices for you. Follow your happiness. Follow what your heart is whispering to you. Listen to the echoes in the chamber of your own heart. Listen to the echoes of your own inner world. What is the voice inside of you telling you to do that you keep denying or you keep pushing off? Stop pushing it off. Go for it. We don't know how much time we have here. A lot of us will probably be here for a while, but not everyone. And whatever you think is coming up ahead of you, you always have an opportunity to change it. Choices matter. Every choice you make matters. And even if you make a choice that not a lot of people around you support, if it's right for you, own it, stand in it, live it. It's yours. That's energetic sovereignty. That's true sovereignty. Stop making decisions based on other people's needs. Focus on your own needs. What do you need? If you are taken care of, then you are in a place to help others. But until you really start taking care of your own needs, you're only working at a diminished capacity of your potential. And that's not why you came here. You didn't come here to diminish yourself. You didn't come here to give your power away. You didn't come here to live small. You came here to live the full breadth of the human experience. And that human experience means there are days you're going to cry. There are days you're going to laugh. There are days you're going to scream. All of it is okay. Just because something's not going your way doesn't mean it's time to throw in the towel or give up on whatever it is. Give up on your dream. Give up on this life. Give up on your purpose. Life is too good. Make sure you're living it every day to its fullest. At least do one thing every day that is a little bit different than what you're used to. Start branching out. Start getting a little uncomfortable. Start making being uncomfortable part of your daily routine. Start factoring in one choice that you never usually make into every day. And you'll start to see how that starts to shift your reality. So that's my rant. And I didn't cry that much. Like I said, velvet glove, but not pulling any punches. Hello, Fifi. How are you? Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask me while we're here all together? I'm going to kind of look back. Happily humbled. We need to go back to living a virtuous life, not a virtual one. You know, this virtual reality is great in that it provides us a connection in ways we would have never had if it were only, you know, in the physical reality. So that's beautiful. But we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can't just only live online because we're afraid to make connections. We're afraid of being hurt. We're afraid of being rejected. We're afraid that we can't handle the energy of other people around us. That's part of the human experience. You got to go out there and live on this planet, live out here. There's nothing wrong with the online community. The online community is great. It's an addition to your world. Just don't make it your world. Let me see here. I'm just going through the live chat and I'm going to come back and see if anyone has any questions they'd like me to ask. Okay, let's see. Newfie, they say the good die young. I find that to be true. I think I know why. Because they figured out the mission and are ready for level up. The body dies, but the spirit is eternal, always with you. I think there are so many reasons why people die young. It could be that they figured it out. So maybe some did, but maybe some just came in with a shorter time frame to work with. And that was part of their purpose. There's so many different layers. I think one of the issues we have in this human experience is that we're so programmed to think linearly, and we're so programmed to think this or that. And it doesn't have to be this or that. It can be this and that and that and that and that. And that's where we need to like really check ourselves, because we limit ourselves so much by the black and white duality of this or that. But replace the or and put the and in over and over and over again. Fifi, I love to wake up to this straight up talk. I love you, Fifi. Oh man, let me see here. All right. Nothing wrong with tears. Yeah. Yeah. Don't give up. No one give up on yourself. The power of your emotions is beyond explainable. You just need to learn how to channel them. Like this morning, I was angry about something. And I was like, I'm going to take this anger and I'm going to feel it, but I'm going to channel it in a positive way. You know, and that's what we can do. We can take our sadness, we can take our whatever it might be and channel it, feel it. Don't be afraid of it. Feel it, honor it. It's a valid emotion if it's coming up. And then channel it into something beautiful. Anger can be used to be channeled into many beautiful things. So, okay. So no questions. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Tomorrow's podcast with Mary Ducina. It's a long one, as it always is. She loves to talk. She loves to go in. And we're going to, I mean, of course, you know, it's a Taurus lunar eclipse. So there was a lot to talk about. And that is going to be starting at 8 p.m. tomorrow. And I will be doing all signs. I'm just haven't decided if I'm going to do it live or record it ahead of time. We'll see. But all signs will either be out this Wednesday. No, it'll be out this Wednesday. It'll be out this Wednesday. So stick around for that. Okay, guys. I love you so much. And remember that the Awaken the Mystics online event is this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Love to see you there. I am preparing a beautiful journey, healing, and some other stuff for you guys. And that's it. So I love you guys. And what can I say? Life, it is precious. It's precious and it's a privilege. Don't let it go wasted. And when I say don't let it go wasted, meaning really be true to your own needs. Be true to what it is that you need to live this life in the happiest way possible. You know? And just because some things don't go your way isn't a reason to give up. Keep trying. It's just a challenge. It's just an obstacle. There's another way. There's another way. All right? I love you guys, and I'll